Hello everyone, it's me, Crystal Misara Lopez, back at it again with another video for today. Anyway, I know you've heard about literature, but what about Chinese and Hindu literature? If you haven't, then this video is good for you because we're going to discuss it right here. To begin with Chinese literature, I'm going to use the poem titled A Wife Mourns for Her Husband, written by Confucius. But before we're going to dive into the poem, let me give you a quick description of the author. Kung Fu Tzu, famously known as Confucius, a Chinese sage, founded Confucianism. Confucius was born in a poor family in the state of Lu, later became an orphan. He is a man of responsibility because in his young age, he already had several minor posts in the government, known as the best teacher as he has taught over 3,000 disciples who carried and embraced his teachings. Confucius became an inspiration for many people who look upon him as a great teacher, educator, statesman, and philosopher, a traditionalist, and the founder of Chinese literature. He was known for his principle about the superior man, stating, "He who does not recognize the existence of a divine law cannot be a superior man." This principle was a part of ethics and the ethical teaching that he always taught to his disciples with. He died at the age of 72, but he will always be remembered through his book that keep his name and fame together with his morals and disciplines. Now, back on the poem, its rhyme scheme ABAB, CDC, ECEC, CFCF, an alternative rhyme. Closest meter is truncate pentameter with a total of 5 stanzas. On the other hand, the punctuation marks are various. Neither mark predominates. The author used lexical repetitions to emphasize a significant image, and the I are repeated. The poet used anaphora at the beginning of some neighboring lines. The same word through is also repeated. On the first and second stanzas, we can say that the poem is depicting a genuine kind of love and a mourn of a wife for her husband's death. Marriage is a strong commitment that will remain forever for a woman to her husband even in death. The persona of the poem was the wife who is experiencing so much pain because she is longing for her husband who will never return in this world. Again, she felt homeless because all she can feel is sorrow and grief. She can no longer live life with happiness just like before, knowing that her husband, serving as her safe place or her great companion, is now in a safe place that she can no longer reach out. The third stanza, the imagery here is a wife still in grief and felt all alone. Despite the fact that she have a nice bed to lay on and a comfortable pillow to rest, she knows that in her heart something is still lacking, and it is the presence of her husband. The fourth stanza states that days and fleeting so fast, winter season ended and a new season begins. But the wife is still waiting as she will endure doing the same thing even it takes hundreds of years. She is not losing her hope that one day she can meet her husband again with a tight embrace. All in all, the poem taught us that if you are true to your commitment with your partner, you will keep choosing him even in the afterlife. Now let's proceed with the second literature from India and its differences compared to the first one. It is entitled Bhagavad Gita, is one of the Indians' ancient texts derived from the Mahabharata. Throughout history, this still stands as the longest poem to have been written in Sanskrit language with 18 chapters and 700 verse Hindu scripture. It was also referred to as simply the Gita. The author is Vasa or Veda, who believed to have categorized the primordial single Veda into 4 canonical collections. He is also considered to be the scribe of Puranas, ancient Hindu texts eulogizing various deities, primarily the divine Trimurti god in Hinduism, through the divine stories. The Gita has 3 major themes: knowledge, action, and love. It was passed orally from one generation to the next, almost as Shruti. Whether from an ancient yogi or a modern day practitioner's perspective, the Bhagavad Gita speaks to anyone who ever feels as though their mind is a battlefield. Let me highlight a conversation between Arjun and Krishna, the two major characters here in the epic. The first one is just live the life and that's it. Don't get worried about productivity. Second, experience is a hard teacher. It gives the test first and the lessons after. Third one, life is wonderful if you know how to live, which is exactly very relatable for all of us. The Bhagavad Gita is a map and a guidebook. It gives us a systematic overview of the territory of life, shows various approaches to the summit with their benefits and pitfalls, offers recommendations, tell us what to pack and what to leave behind. More than either of the others, the Upanishads and the Dhammapada, it gives the sense of a personal guide. It asks and answers the questions that you or I might ask. Questions not about philosophy or mysticism, but about how to live life effectively in a world of a challenge and change. The whole story takes place in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, upon which two sides of a family, the Pandavas and the Kauravas, are preparing for a battle. The text itself is positioned around a conversation between the two characters, like I mentioned, Krishna and Arjuna. The setting of the Gita as a battlefield has been interpreted as an allegory for the ethical, moral struggles of the human life. The Bhagavad Gita, or Song of the Lord, seems somewhat timeless, in fact, and that is still relevant whether we live in 1,000 years ago or we're living in the modern age. We explore what happens when Arjuna has to make life-changing, difficult decisions, specifically the decision as to whether he should battle against his own family members in a war, good versus evil, and the importance of living a life of truth and purpose. The most interesting and often misunderstood aspect of the Bhagavad Gita is that it's entirely representational and highly symbolic. There is no real battlefield or a fight to be won. The entire text is a representation of the battle that goes in our minds and is an invaluable way to understand how we can overcome difficulty, self-doubt, and ultimately how to live a life of truth and purpose. As they said, less drama, more dharma. The pages of Bhagavad Gita delve into the aspect of dharma, which translate as that which upholds, and is known as a life purpose. Bhagavad Gita has been a guide for Mahatma Gandhi, a very prominent figure in India, and many leaders in the Indian independence movement, a crucial component in uncovering life's purpose and knowledge. The Sanskrit epic encourages us to live life with purity, strength, discipline, honesty, and kindness in order to find our purpose and to live it fully, just as Krishna encourages Arjuna to cast aside all doubts and trust in his highest self. We too can use the wisdom of Bhagavad Gita to meet our own difficulties and decisions with fearlessness and honesty, and learn to live life authentically and fully. So to end this two literature with their similarities, I guess they were both first literature and they all express something. It could be love, doubt, self-worth, bravery, that is both highlighted in Chinese and Hindu literature. The other ones is that the importance of seeking happiness despite the challenges, which is totally observed in the lines and in the poem and in the epic of those both literature. The only difference is that, like those I've mentioned above, it's poem, Chinese literature, it is more on fiction, while the Hindu literature is an epic, which is mostly a sacred and devotional as it talks about their god and religion. So I hope you've learned something, and I'm going to end this with a saying by Siddhartha Gautama, who states that to discover your world with all your heart, give yourself to it. That's it, and good night.